Thank you, David. Good morning to those hardy souls able to join us. Just a little bit of a change of perspective. I guess a quote that was recently given, you saw, the Startup America initiative, which is coming out of Washington, has a big deal associated with it. They quoted a guy by the name of Tim Kaine out of the Kauffman Foundation. And he basically said startups aren't everything when it comes to jobs. They're the only thing when it comes to jobs. So for the last about 4 or 5 years, the only new jobs, net new jobs that have arrived in the U.S. have been from the startup companies, because larger businesses have basically had a net decline in total jobs created. So for years, a lot of people said, well, the only way we're going to grow the economy, the only way we're going to create jobs for the people who are graduating from the university, for our communities, is going to be by making the larger businesses more successful and having them expand and grow. And that just hasn't proven to be the case. I think in an upwardly moving economy, it does become that. But right now, we're in a very different economy. The Small Business Development Center really does two things. We work with existing businesses. About half of our clients are existing businesses. We also work with entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs range in age from 10 to about 80. So you don't have anything in particular you can ascribe to their activities. They range in type of activity from, as David said, food developer, someone who cooks in a kitchen and decides that their salad dressing is really good and it's going to surpass Newman's salad dressing. Or it ascribes to the small business person who was a student at Albany a number of years ago and decided he enjoyed skiing on really short skis. And he built a ski press in his father's garage after he convinced his father to take out a second mortgage, and created inline skis. And I don't know whether you've ever skied on line skis, but my son skis on line skis because they're tipped at both ends and you can ski backwards, and he skis faster than I backwards than I'm skiing forwards, so he enjoys line skis quite a bit. But when you think about the SBDC, I guess what I'm trying to get across is that the SBDC is a partnership, and that's where we look at the partnership with UAlbany. The SBDC is a partnership between the feds, the U.S. Small Business Administration, each one of our host higher educational institutions. We have 24 of them, but UAlbany hosts the statewide program in addition to a regional center, as well as CUNY, which is our second largest participant representing the city, and Columbia and Pace universities, our two largest private participants, as well as New York State, each one of the local communities, because we have a lot of community colleges involved, as well as the private sector. The private sector actually contributes about $1 million to us a year in various forms. So it ends up being, pretty wide open. I think that's one of the things that we need to get across here at UAlbany Day, is that the university represents a lot more than what people see just in the buildings north of town. It's a lot more than what we see in the interrelationships that might hit the press. It's a lot of things going on all the time. And that no one can do any of this solely. We're talking about a period in America. If we're going to sustain our standard of living, we have to be collaborative. We have to be able to share the resources. So we have Mike Tucker here from CEG, and it's an organization that is built upon collaboration. From our program, we work with about 15,000 small business people per year on a one-to-one basis. Those engagements average about 9 hours. From those engagements, those small business people invested in New York State last year over $275 million. That investment created about 8,000 jobs. Now, those jobs were filled primarily by New Yorkers. Those are not jobs that they're going outside recruiting for. I hope that a lot of the jobs were filled by students that graduated from SUNY and wanted to stay in New York and didn't want to move to some, godforsaken, if I can say that, southern climate where they spoil because the temperature's too warm. We also have 20,000 people that we have through training each and every year. One of the things that we don't perform as well as we probably should have is that we engage faculty and students through internships and work study and a lot of other things. And we only had about 800 of our clients touched by a faculty or student member. Our goal in that area is well over 2,000. So we have a little bit of distance to go. David said we do a lot of different things, and just to give you a summary of the specialty programs that we get involved with, we have energy and its sustainability for more efficient operation of small businesses. Disaster recovery. I'm very proud to say that the SBDC was awarded the National Phoenix Award after 9/11 because we worked with 8,000 small businesses that were in the proximity of the World Trade Center. Innovation and technology. We have a lot of SBIR clients that come out of the universities. Sometimes we ask people if we can talk about their project in the open, and a lot of people don't want that to happen because they think, one, it's going to give away their trade secret or their advanced thinking on something, and two, they're embarrassed about the fact that they came to someone else that has some experience. That's especially true for the lawyers, if we have any lawyers in the crowd. Then manufacturing, women and minorities, veterans. Everybody loves vets. We have a very robust veteran program in international trade. International trade, we have really focused on China for the last 17 years. We usually take 3 or 4 delegations of small business people to China every year. We usually host anywhere from 4 to 6 Chinese delegations, bringing them here to meet with our businesses. If we're talking about how we have this pipeline of education within New York State, very few people realize that the legislature about 15 years ago passed an act that said high school students have to take small business classes in high school. I mean, I didn't know that, and I was living here with my kids in school. And the way they met that requirement was they taught them unusual things like no hand and being able to do some basic check writing. So we worked with, there's an Association of Business Teachers here in New York. We worked with them and came up with what we call the Entre Skills program. And it basically has a high school student going through and developing the components of a business plan. We launched that about 8 years ago. We had about 440 high schools in the state participating. We are doing a relaunch of it this year. And we're anticipating some really great things because we have a lot more interaction with it. The technology has improved to the point where we're able to do a lot of different things. And then we just heard about Nano. To me, Nano represents a fantastic opportunity. Not from the viewpoint of the large project being built up in Luther Forest, but from a viewpoint that we literally have thousands of smaller businesses that are going to be complementary or feeding businesses that will probably provide exponentially more opportunities for the community than the prime Nano site. If we're talking about Luther Forest and we're talking about the chip fab up there, it's going to be a lot greater impact for all those additional businesses that are going to be locating here because we host that than what we'll have directly from the physical plant. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.